Hi Joggies, welcome back. This second video on the question types. Okay, today's video will be on data response questions, which are the AO2 questions. As you can see, previously in my summary videos, there are 5 types of question. I further divided the AO2 questions into 2 types. One is DRQ and the other is DRQ with content. So you can see there's actually a huge difference between the two, and you need to be clear what the question is really asking you. And you can see in this example over here. Okay, so firstly, we're going to talk about the first type of DRQ, and usually this type of DRQ starts with using figure 1.2 or using certain figure. All right, the language of using figure will tell you that this question only needs you to use the figure, okay, that is given. Okay, what are you supposed to do? The command word, which is the second step, that is to describe. Okay, you're supposed to describe certain things, and what's the content requirement? That would be to describe the global distribution of volcanoes. All right, that's the third step. And last but not least, okay, as usual, we look at the marks allocation. It is a 3 marks allocation, and therefore you can plan your answer from there. So usually what I teach my students is to use the TSA method, a very simple and straightforward method. T stands for trend, pattern, of course supporting it with your evidence. Next, we talk about significance data. Okay, significant data such as the highest or the lowest, and also supported with evidence. And last but not least, A stands for anomaly. Okay, anomaly must be supported with evidence as well, but sometimes the data does not have any, I would say, anomaly, so you can actually not use this portion. All right. So this is the general rule of thumb. You use TSA. So if it's a 3 marks question, as you can see over here, you can use TSA. If there's no anomaly, you can use TSS. But if it is for a 4 marks question, if there is anomaly, okay, you can use TSSA, or when there's no anomaly, usually I'll use TSSS. All right. So these are the different strategies you can use to really tackle this problem over here. Okay, so this is an example. Let's look at the sample questions, right? So the general trend, for those of you who are not doing the tectonics, it's okay. Okay, we are learning about the skills right now. All right, so volcanoes are generally found along convergent boundaries. Okay, that is the general trend. Okay, along convergent where subduction occurs, and divergent as well. All right, so this will actually give you 1 mark because you are citing. Okay, next we talk about the significant data. So for volcanoes distribution, you would have learned that most of these volcanoes are found near the Pacific Ring of Fire. Okay, you need to be able to cite me or give me specific data. Where are the plates that's involved in the Pacific Ring of Fire? Okay, what kind of plates they are, so on and so forth. Okay, so on the other hand, you also can say that, oh, actually there are also volcanoes found at divergent plate boundaries, okay, such as blah, blah, blah. All right, so this is what you can do. So significant, there's the highest concentration, which is at Pacific Ring of Fire, and perhaps the other types of volcanoes that's found at divergent plate boundaries. Then we move on to anomaly. All right, so in this case, why are there 2 anomalies in this case? Because in volcanoes, we learned that there are volcanoes that may be found in the middle of plates. That can happen. Okay, and that's in the case of Hawaii. But of course, this is what you have studied. But make sure you have seen the data in the figure as well. If the data is not showing, you do not use that. Okay, so sometimes another anomaly that can be said is also there are no volcanoes found at Transform Fault, and that is seen in St. Andreas Fault, which is the result of movement between Pacific Plate and North America Plate. So in this example over here, you can clearly see that sometimes for geography, while it is a 3 marks question, sometimes there can be more points that can be gathered from the figure itself. So that's the flexibility of marking. And in fact, if you look over here, these are just some possible responses, okay, ways that we can answer them. There are other ways that other schools are teaching. Uh, I will just stick to my way, and perhaps I would say the success is pretty high, so therefore I'm using this way. All right, so this the first type of DRQ question, which only use figure data. You do not need to use your own knowledge. Let us go on to the next type of question. All right, this next type of question is using DRQs with content. And most of the time, okay, we'll start off with this phrasing with reference to table or with reference to figure. Okay, it is I always call this to my always call this a hybrid question. Okay, this has higher I would say expectation and or requirement because you need to be able to firstly give evidences from the figure. Secondly, you will need to explain and apply what you have learned to the question. Okay, so in this case, it is also about tectonics again. All right, the table, just go through a very fast one. Okay, the table shows two different areas that are affected by earthquakes in Japan, and there are some numbers given over here. Okay, you're supposed to explain possible factors causing the difference in death tolls. Okay, so you can see there is a huge difference in death toll, and this is actually a 3 marks question. All right, so you need to understand that for these type of question, firstly, you cannot forget to support explanation with evidence, right? Because a table is given to you. And the main crux of this question is we are trying to test you on how you can apply your knowledge, okay, in this with regards to real data, right? Because you have learned so much about, in this case, earthquakes. You have learned that death tolls are different because of different extent or different extent of earthquake or different timing of earthquake, so on and so forth. So we are trying to ask you to formulate an answer that shows us you have understood that link. All right. So you can see over here in the first pointer, I know it's a bit small, I apologize for that, but you can see over here, under year of occurrence, our explanation is that, okay, as Tokyo's earthquake in 1923 occurred earlier than Kobe's earthquake in 1995, which I've used evidence from here, okay, because the year of occurrence is there. Okay, I explained that the level of preparedness of the city to mitigate the impacts of earthquake may have been lower as earthquake monitoring and warning system may not have been so advanced. Okay, so that is actually, in fact, this is actually my point and explanation already, right? And you can see, or you can and you can say that there's some form of evidence as well. So I went on, how do you get that one additional mark? I went on to really elaborate a bit more. Okay, I went on to elaborate how come the Tokyo's earthquake in 1923 has such a high death toll as compared to Kobe. It is because perhaps engineering methods may be less developed and hence infrastructure may not be as resistant, so on and so forth. So I'm trying to explain over here, okay? So over here, this structure, okay, I know I wrote a PE here, but in general, it is EE. Make sure you have your evidence and your explanation. You want to intertwine with it, you want to do explanation evidence or evidence explanation, it is really up to your writing style, all right? And that just gives you 2 marks over here. So in order to get the third mark, okay, you just need to have any of these 1 mark in the next few pointers, okay, to get the third mark. Sometimes, okay, this type of question can be increased to 4 marks, but it really depends. All right. So I hope at the end of the day, you can differentiate the 2 DRQs. Just remember, the 2 DRQs are differentiated by the first 3 words in the question. One is using figure 1.1. The other is with reference to figure 1.1. All right. With that, I end off this session. Thank you and see you again. Bye.